So today I wanted to talk about this deck I've been using recently on the ladder. It's a very interesting deck, and I think it works pretty well together. I've had a pretty good win rate with this deck, very successful. So let's take a look. What is it? It's a Feign Death Witcher deck. Which Witcher? Well, we're gonna base our deck around Gezras of Lydia. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say all these names wrong again, but we use this card, and we also use Feign Death. So we're gonna play a decent number of elves. We're not going to play Erlin or Isengrim, the normal elves you see in an elf deck. So we take a look. What are we not running? So we're not going to play Isengrim. We're not playing... Where is she? She at 8, 7 now? We're not playing Ailerin, and we're also not playing Gaetan. So we're not playing these guys, the normal cards you see in an elf deck, because we don't have enough elves to regularly get a lot of value out of this. Instead, what we're doing is we'll show you, and we'll be using a lot of movement and Witcher cards mainly. So let's start at the bottom of the deck list today. Actually, today let's start at the top, because this makes a lot more sense. So we're playing Feign Death. The reason we are playing Feign Death is because I was trying to make a deck relying mainly around Gezras of Lydia. And when I was going through it, based on what I was facing on the ladder, what I realized was the most consistent way to gain points from this was the melee, where you move to the range and boost all of your units, because you can control how many units are on your range row much more easily than you can control how many units your opponent plays on the melee row. So I figured, okay, we need to get a lot of units onto our range row. There's two ways to spawn a lot of units with Scoia'tael. You can do elves with a scenario and stuff that spawns Deadeyes, or you can do symbiosis and spawn the treants. Those are two main ways, at least that are pretty consistent and generate a lot of tokens. So between those, the elves method of spawning tokens is more controlled, because the symbiosis treant tokens go to a random row. So that's what we went with. And because also I like using scenarios, because they give you a lot of options in how you play the game, because you have a potential use scenario for a very powerful round 3 or 2. If you want to push or you want to secure a win in a round 3 where you say have a scenario and 2 elves in your hand, that's a very strong hand. You can actually get a lot of points from that. So we use Feign Death and Gezras of Lydia. Those are our combos. We play Feign Death. We're going to spawn a whole bunch of elves. It gives us 2 elves. Well, it gives us the commando, then it spawns 2 elves, then it plays the waylay, which gives us a 3rd elf, right? The 3rd one might not always go in the row you want via the waylay, but it creates enough tokens that we can guarantee value from Gezras of Lydia and some other stuff too. And since we're playing this scenario, we need Oneiromancy. There's no way around it. We really just need Oneiromancy here. So we have Gezras and Oneiromancy. We play Forge Protector because it's amazing. We are only playing Nature's Rebuke, which we'll get to later. But this plays a Bronze Nature from Graveyard. If you play the game, I'm sure you've seen this played quite a bit. It's very, very strong. Also, I like the artwork on this guy, especially the premium one. Quite like it. And then we have Heatwave because, well, I'm not sure I need to explain this. It's Heatwave. We're not playing Devotion, so we run Heatwave. We have Call of the Forest. So other than Oneiromancy, we're also playing Call of the Forest because I want to guarantee I can use Gezras, and I want to be able to make sure I get them. And also, where is she? We'll get to another couple cards that are very important to be able to play consistently at the right time. We also play Bran. So destroy the rightmost unit on a row with at least 5, and Adrenaline 3 on a row with at least 3. So the Adrenaline 3 effect will almost always be able to go off, unless you're playing like a no unit deck or something. The without Adrenaline 5 actually comes up sometimes for example versus monsters, because they'll play like Indrago Larva, and then they'll make some tokens and they'll play Yagran. And you can destroy the Yagran sometimes with this, which is nice. You just drop it, take out 13, give yourself 4, it's good. And the Adrenaline effect, so we are using Guerrilla Tactics. Should have mentioned this earlier. So we have 3 charges of move something and do 2 damage. We can always set up Vrihedd as long as there are enough units, because when you move something, it goes to the rightmost end of the row. So if we move something from the ranged row to the melee row, it'll be on the rightmost spot, so we just kill it with this, which is it makes this card a lot better than it would otherwise be. Because if you move the unit and it didn't go to the rightmost part of the row, you wouldn't be able to kill it. But this way you can say, like, they have a 20-point unit. If you move it to a row with 2 things in it, as long as you have the Adrenaline ability, it'll move to the rightmost spot and you can kill it every time, because it'll always be at the rightmost position. So that makes Bran stronger than if he, like, the leftmost would be much worse than this. The rightmost is good. And this gets us a lot of value sometimes. Speaking of the newer cards, we also have Gaetan. So we move all the other cards from this row to the other one and damage a random enemy unit for each card moved by one. So the strongest combo we can do with this is we play Feign Death, right? So we have Feign Death in the melee row, spawn all of our guys there. We set up a Dol Blathanna Sentry, which has range when an ally unit moves, boosted by 1. So we have a bunch of tokens and stuff up in our melee row. We play Gaetan, move him all to the range row. He does 1 damage for each unit, for each card moved randomly, so it shoots a bunch of damage at the enemies. Every unit we move gets +1 from the Dol Blathanna Sentry. Then after each one gets +1 from the Sentry, then they all get. We play Gezras, and it gives them +1. We put this in the melee or boost the range or boost everything again by 1. And that's like that's the big points we can get. We can get a lot of points that way. That's the idea of the deck. So to facilitate this, we also play Malena. This card can be so annoying to opponents that can't deal with it. Versus decks that need stuff in a specific row, and they can't kill her. She's amazing. Unfortunately, I usually kill her, but some people won't consider it an issue. Say like if they're using a deck that doesn't care about being row locked, or that isn't row locked, they might leave her, and then you can move your stuff to set up things, or even just move something every turn to get boosts from the Dol Blathanna Sentry is nice too. And then she's also an elf for this scenario, so we needed a decent number of elves to activate it. Half Elf Hunter, again, we need a decent number of elves to activate the scenario, and this spawns a token, so it's good for boosting more things. And as far as the harmony goes, we get harmony from Witcher and Treant, and I think that's it. Witcher, Treant, to deal with the elves. So it's worth 8 for 6. It's not fantastic, but if we get value from the token, then it's worth it. And honestly, of the elves, it's not bad. And then we play Nature's Rebuke because we need a 5 damage spell. It's very good. Playing with Force Protector, fantastic play. Dol Blathanna Sentry, whenever we move something, gets +1 boost. And whenever an enemy moves, it gets damaged by 1. We can take advantage of both of these, but the boost is typically more useful because we can boost things we want to protect. And what happens frequently is like this only has 4 health and armor, right? So it dies to a 5 damage spell. So what we do a lot of times, we'll play this in the melee row and use one of our 3 charges to move it to the ranged row, and then it'll be safe from 5 damage spells then, because it'll have 6 health and an armor. So they'll have to play like Rock Slide or Heat Wave or something to kill it, or 2 cards, so it's safe that way. Which is usually how, if you're playing a round 3 or something where you want to get value from it, or round 2 you're pushing, that's probably the best way to do it. In round 1 you just play Crystal Skull on it. Should have mentioned earlier, we're using Crystal Skull. I think the Veil is definitely worth the 1 less point than Tactical Advantage for this deck, because getting locked or poisoned is quite annoying. Especially if you play a Sentry right away. Also play Cat Witcher. Cat Witcher is very strong because we can manipulate to make sure it's always hitting something, and the Adrenaline ability of doing 2 damage instead. So 2 damage per turn for an engine is really good. And then obviously we play the Sentry will boost every time it moves, and there's good synergies there. For all our 5 version cards, we play 1 Vrihedd Brigade. It's good. I mean, it's better now that you can target the first 2 damage instead of it being random. But it can be your finisher if you're missing something, and also it generates 2 points a turn if you're 2 points a turn if you're moving it with Malena. That's all right, but we only play 1. It's all right. I'm not sure about this card. There are situations where, like around 2 you're pushing, you don't have the scenario, you have all your leader charges left, and you're like, all right, I have a Vrihedd Brigade left. I'll just play my 3 leader charges on it, and then each charge worth 4 points instead of 2, because it's 2 extra damage with the movement, and boosts you by 6 and does 6 damage. So you can play this, it does 2, it's worth 3, get 12 more, it's 19, it's a pretty okay finisher if you want. If you give your charges back, it's a good finisher. But typically we use the charges on Gezras, so what you do, if you're in a situation, say in late round 3, this is how you get all your points, this is how you get a ton of points, you get over 100 points like this. He moves from the melee row to the range row, boosts everything by 1. Then you just use one of your charges, or Malena, or something else, and you move him back to the melee row, and it moves back to the range row again, boosts everything by 1. You're consistently using that boost until you get hit by Geralt Yrden and you become sad. But yeah, well, not much you can do about that. Sometimes you get Yrdened. So we use the Brigade, making a bomb. So the 4 provision, these little provision cards here I'm going to go over can be swapped around however you want. I'm using making a bomb because I was in the part of the journey where I had to play bombs. So I put making a bomb in the deck. I mean, that's about it. It turned out to be better than I thought it would be. Having a 4 damage spell's nice. It does 5 damage if you have Dol Blathanna Sentry in the melee row, but that doesn't really come up that much. It's alright. Honestly, I'd use Pyrotechnician, I think, instead. But I was doing the bomb journey, so whatever. It worked out better than I thought it would be. Better than I thought it would be. And then we have Vrihedd Dragoon. It's got a move in the melee and range. The trade-off here for the 4 provision elves is a lot of them. So if we take a look at the 4 provision elves for a second. A lot of them are worth 6, right? So the bomber does 2 random damage to 2 units, so it's worth 6. The saboteur is mainly for stuff that you want in your hand buffed. Blue Mountain Elite damages something in a row by 3 if it's the only unit, so it's worth 6. Bowman, if it's something in the range row for 3, it's worth 6. So yeah, then of the ones you can just like drop, most of them are worth about 6. So of those, you can trade 2 points for the 2 points on one of those removals, which are not the best removals for the movement here. You can swap it around as you want. You could even, if you don't want to play this many elves, you could drop it for stuff like Pyrotechnician, Miner, stuff like that. Miner's pretty good. So it's up to you. I was just playing this to try out the movement with it, and I wanted more elves. And then we also play Elven Swordmaster. It's really nice this is back at 4 provisions. It works really well in the deck. It gives us something to play first that's an engine that doesn't require movement. It's an elf, it's 4 provisions. It's probably the best of the 4 provision elves in the deck. Well, I'm sure it is. And then we have one Dol Blathanna bomber. I was going between the other 4 provision elves, like I said earlier, for which one to include. And I kept playing people who played Neckers, so I threw this in and killed some Neckers with it. So that's the deck, guys. Look at some gameplay and show off the combo. I think this time we'll do the video a little differently. I will not include as many games. We'll just show like a example of how we want to play the deck, one game, and then maybe a part 2 with some more interesting games. But this is the deck. It's pretty fun. If you want to try it out, go ahead. And we'll move on to showing off some of the gameplay. Starting off this first game here, then we're going to go second up against probably an Assimilate deck. So looking at our hand, we have our Gezras, which is really good. We have Heatwave, which is really good. We have our Scenario, and we have several elves. So this is a really good start. Let's see what he does. He's going to play the Nautica Sergeant. Okay, not a big deal. This is actually where making a bomb would be pretty nice. But we can always kill Nature's Rebuke. The thing is here, there's not much I want to start setting up. I think the best thing here we can do is drop our Swordmaster. But just looking through our hand here, probably going to do that. We'll drop Swordmaster, and then maybe we can play some elves for more value if we want. I'm imagining this will get locked or killed. But he might not have blocks if he's playing Assimilate, so this might live. I'm kind of curious if he wants the Tactical Advantage. I'm not sure what it will be. Okay, here comes the Cantarella. So let's see if he's going to steal our Scenario again like this. Well, I guess I don't have that game recorded. Before this, the game before this, we got Cantarella for our Oniromancy, which he used to play his Oniromancy, and then he killed it with the coup de grace and stole our Scenario, and that game ended just like that. I mean, I didn't quit right away, but that was the end of the game. So let's see, this time he's gotten our Half-Elf Hunter. That's alright, it's not great for us. I mean, it's good for us, it's not great for him. So here comes coup de grace again. Gonna be a Niromancy again? No? Oh, Cantarella into... What's he gonna take? Ooh, Call of Force. That's a big loss for us, but it gives him 0 points. So, we'll just give him a well played there. All luck all balance out. In the end, we lose on Niromancy and Feign Death the game before this. This time, he gets nothing, but we still lose a card. So, we'll just set up our Swordmaster. Knowing he played a 0-point play there for his Cantarella, I'm going to try and force this into an even scenario where we win on even. Let's see if we can do that. Because that was such a low tempo play though from him. I'm really not a fan of playing Cantarella. I understand people do it. I think to beat the V-Dex, however you say his name, steal it or whatever. But I'm not a big fan of playing Cantarella. Because of how wrong it can go. I like consistent stuff. So he's going to keep playing Diviners. It's fine, we can keep up the pressure here. So our Cat Witcher would start generating points here and be more protected from moving because of our Sentry. So we're going to play that. It's not going to have its Adrenaline for the 2 damage yet, but based on the fact he didn't kill our Dol Blathanna Sentry, I don't think he has a 5 damage removal card to use. So I think this is a pretty safe play and it'll generate more points over time. We have Milana to start getting us more points, so he's going to get our Cat Witcher. Alright, we can't actually get rid of it, which is bad. But,
Humans are scum. I prefer elves.
Alright, with that many he's got 2 assimilates. I don't think we will be able to end up winning on even because I'm not going to play the scenario or Gezras here. And most likely not well, not Heatwave either. So I think the only card I'm going to commit here is Milana. And we'll see if this gets him out. If it doesn't get him out uneven, then I think that's going to be it. We'll just move something and boost it for the Sentry value. And let's see if we can convince him to leave. If not, if he plays something big, I would consider Heatwaving it, because I don't think he plays Masquerade Ball. But we can always... What's the Assimilate 2 card? We always want to banish that later on. Although we do have the option of killing it if it's the rightmost unit, we can set that up. So, Brathen, I'm guessing he only has the Informant. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of Assimilate points. And I'm guessing he's taking another Cat Witcher and get points over time from it. Okay, so he's going to take this round. But I'm looking at this, he committed his Cantarella, his Brathens, and his first charge of his coup de grace. We only committed our Milena as far as the gold cards go, so that's good. And we did lose our Call of Force to him though. Overall, I think this is pretty good for us. We're not going to play anything here, just looking at the field. There's nothing I'm willing to Heatwave, or none of these will be good. Thinking about round 2 now, I'm guessing he'll not. We could do this and kill one of the Cat Witchers, but I don't... Yeah, it's not worth it. I guess he'll take this one. Okay. I really wanted to win on even here, but that's not worth it. We could have killed one of the Cat Witchers, but I think he still gets enough points just from the other one that we'd have to play another card. I'm guessing he'll just pass here, because Assimilate decks tend to like to go to a longer round 3. They want to go long round 3 and get all their Assimilate value. We can have our scenario. If he's playing this, is he going to play Devotion? If he's not playing Devotion, does he have Heatwave? We don't want making a bomb. We'll drop the Brigade in here. I think he's going to pass. But we have a lot of value and everything else in our hand. So actually, we'll Heatwave. We'll take out something worse from our deck. I think the Bomber is the worst card for us to draw, so let's drop that. Get it out of our deck. We'll get Oneiromancy back. Pick whatever we want. Brigade does represent a good amount of finishing value. But since we don't have Milena anymore, I don't think we're going to end up using it, but we need to keep it because it's an elf and we need 2 elves. We have access to a second elf through Oneiromancy. I don't want this other making a bomb. Let's get rid of that. Dragoon. Brigade. I think we get rid of Dragoon to hope for Force Protector, and if we don't get Force Protector, we play an elf with Oneiromancy. Okay, we got Force Protector. Perfect. That's why we went for that. So I'm going to drop the Feign Death right now. If he has Heatwave, he has Heatwave. There's no point in holding on to it. I just need the tokens out as soon as possible to start getting our value from Gezras. The thing that's really nice about this deck is it takes a lot of people by surprise, right? So you're playing a lot of the Witchers and movement stuff. They never seem to expect you to drop the scenario because we don't show too many elves. We show like a couple elves, right? Like the Sentry, which makes sense in the deck. Dragoon, some people use Dragoon just remove. That's not too surprising. Swordmaster I might get a little concerned at, but it's still a 4-point engine every other round if you don't have elves. And if you do have elves, it just accelerates the points. So people, I don't think they expect the scenario. I wouldn't expect it if I was playing against this. And catching people off guard is a good way to win games. So we'll just do Nature's Rebuke, get rid of one of its engines here. We killed one earlier last turn with the Rebuke. I think. I can't believe I forgot already. But we're killing this one, and we'll get our nice 12-point play out there. Well, 10, counting 2 armors removal. He's probably get double engines this turn. Yeah, that's exactly what I'd imagine him to play. Double Assimilate, they can pull another Assimilate out of his deck. We can kill one of these when we get down to Adrenaline levels. Let's drop this for now. We need the Elf. 2 damage off, sure. We'll spawn 2 tokens. Okay, so we need to play from our deck an Elf. It's going to be Dol Blathanna Sentry. We're going to put it in the ranged row. Even though Cat Witcher is really good, we're going to put her in the ranged row. Move everything from the melee row to the ranged row, and boost it all by 1, and then we'll start boosting everything in the ranged row by 1 every turn with the Gezras. This is the plan of the deck. I'm not saying this is a great deck, or a great plan, but it's pretty good. It works out a lot of the time. I wonder... The other thing that's nice here is I think he'll focus on killing the Deadeyes, because I'm guessing he thinks that now that we've played the scenario is that we lost, like we didn't have a good hand, and we had good or bad hands round 1 and 2. I think he thinks we're going to play Vrihedd and get damage from all these, so I'm guessing he'll try and target down the Deadeyes, if possible, which might give us a couple more points of value. We'll find out though. What's he going to do now? Is he looking at our hand? He gets Heat Wave. We only have 1 charge left on our scenario, but he probably will take that anyway. He probably thinks we need the scenario to get more Deadeyes. And him Heat Waving our scenario when all we get to Waylay. Oh, he didn't. He took out the, that was odd, he took that out. Whatever. I'd rather have the, scenario than that, but it's fine with me. Play the Sentry now. That'll activate our Waylay. We can do 3 damage to this. Kill it. Spawn our Deadeye. It's nice that it spawned on the melee row here. Not super important, but it's nice. So next turn, we'll move everything from the melee row to the ranged row. Boost it all by 1. I'm assuming he doesn't have Sentry. These Assimilate decks tend to have less removal than most other Nilfgaard decks, which is nice for us. And he doesn't have his leader ability anymore. But Assimilate can generate a ton of points. So there's Joachim. He has his coup de grace again. Alright, he's getting a lot of points here. Slave Hunter. I want to save Heat Wave. I think I'm going to have to Heat Wave whatever her face is. Let's do Assimilate 2 in the end. And we'll kill something else with Big by our movement. So this will move everything except himself. So we'll have our range row full of 9 things. We can always take one out for Gezras using our leader ability. And this should be pretty good. So we're going to do random damage here. Okay, random damage. Pew 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 pew. Nice. And then they all get +1. Perfect. So this is the plan of the deck. Right there. And then we play Gezras. This is how we get all our points. You can get a ton of points this way. Just in this round, I don't think we will be getting a ton. We'll be getting a good number. So here comes coup de grace. Okay, Joachim. So he's going to get another Joachim, another 8 boost. You know, if this guy doesn't play Heat Wave, he might play Yrden. And Yrden would not be good here for us. I think we can still win through Yrden, but I have a feeling he might have it. So we'll just take something out of our ranged row. It'll get a +1 boost. That'll do 2 random damage when we take it out. Perfect. And then we'll play this in the melee row. We have to move something out of the range row so we have space for this to go in here. And there's a +1 to everything. Very nice, very nice. Big boost. I think we're in a very good spot here. So the reason we saved leader charges with this deck is we can move Gezras back to the melee row. He'll come back to the ranged row again. We'll keep getting that 1 point boost on everything in this row every turn. And that's the idea here. Now, is this the best plan? I don't know, probably not. But it's fun, I like this plan. It's a good deck. Not amazing. I'm sure there's better decks. Probably better decks using either just the elves or just the witchers. But I quite like this. Oh, he's playing Lacerate. That's gonna hurt. Okay, that's some value right there. You ever see Lacerate value? That's what it looks like. First into Lacerate for 16. 20-point play. We'll just move him to the melee row. Get +2. We'll Heat Wave this so it's gone. And we'll get another +8 here. Alright, so this is getting close, but we're getting a lot of value here. We still have another move to the melee row. Spiritual Remedy. Okay. So the nice thing about beginning of Gezras moving also is you can't fill this rear row up, the ranged row up, and prevent us from moving, or having space to move into. Alright, so we'll take more. Wow, he's getting a lot of points here. Assimilate does give you quite a few points in some scenarios. But I think we've got this. So we're gonna move. We could move his guy and kill it. Or we can move our guy and boost. Our guy gives us +8, right? So we move we move him to the melee row. He gets +1 from being moved from the sentry. Moves back to the range row, gives him +1 from being moved. Plus, then he will boost 7 things. So that's worth 9. This is worth more. We'll move this to the ranged row and we'll take it out here.
They always do.
And there we go. That was worth more. We got a couple points here. Actually, would have gotten a point boost from the move either way. Yeah, so this is worth more points. He's what? He's having. Oh, we got the lacerate. It's gonna hurt again. I mean, this lacerate value is crazy, but we ended up winning. So this is the play of the deck. We saw executed exactly what we wanted to do in that round 3, and it's pretty fun.